AMN DriveTime is sponsored by Aishin, your trusted and reliable source for aftermarket automotive components and technology. Visit AishinAftermarket.com for more information.
Russ, welcome to AMN DriveTime on the road here in Chicago for the Vision Conference, sponsored by our great friends at Aishin.
Bill, it's great to be here and thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. So we got AMN DriveTime on the road today. You and I are in Chicago, the morning of the Vision Conference. It starts this evening. And we're together here and we're really glad to see you.
Well, I'm excited to be here and looking forward to having a conversation with you.
So Russ, you're sort of an aftermarket veteran, right?
Yes.
For the benefit of our AMN audience, why don't you walk us through your career in the aftermarket even before and where you are today?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I have a degree in mechanical engineering and actually started on the OE side of the business. So I have experience working in a plant, engineering, designing airbag systems, program management, and sales. Actually worked on the General Motors account and started to get some international experience there. GM at the time had Opel in Germany and also the Asian companies as well. So I got a lot of time in Europe and Asia then. And then after I was done with that, I actually moved to Germany for a few years and ran our EMEA operations there and pulled all our sales offices together.
Where in Germany were you?
I was in a little village called Alfdorf, which is in the south of Germany. So nearest big town is Stuttgart.
Okay.
So then when I came back to the US after that assignment was over, I did my tour of duty in the corporate offices for 2 years. And then it was time to get into some leadership roles. My first assignment in leadership was to turn around our OE service business unit. So that was where I kind of made the switch to the aftermarket. Once we turned that around, then we relaunched the TRW brand into the aftermarket. From there, after the consolidation of TRW and ZF, I chose to go other directions and took a variety of leadership roles with some companies, both on the North American, the Americas, and then a global, which leads me to where I am today, which is running Canada, US, Mexico, and Central America for PHINIA.
Fantastic. So it's been a year since you have your current appointment as VP and GM, North America Aftermarket PHINIA. Talk about some of the initiatives you've led with your team, along with PHINIA's vision and value proposition to customers across the North American aftermarket.
Well, that's a great question, Bill, and I'd love to talk about that. So it's no secret that we had some key open roles. So job one was supporting the existing team that was on board and then hiring leadership roles so they could then rebuild the team under them. I'm happy to say we've completed that and we're actually now adding resources as we start to win business to help support our customers and their growth plans. So the next thing is I really wanted to get all of our brands working together. So PHINIA is our company name. We have 3 brands. We have Delphi, we have Delco Remy, and we have Hartridge. So we're working on bringing all those locations together, going to customers together, going to trade shows together, leveraging each other's strengths and best practices. We also have aligned our strategy and agreed on our key focus areas for 2025, which is going to build the foundation for our future growth. And then lastly, I just got back from Singapore where I met with my global peers where we aligned on our 2030 plans as we embark on the next phase of PHINIA as an independent company. So we've been an independent public company for a little over a year now. You also asked about our vision and our mission. So our vision for the aftermarket is we want to be the leaders of a sustainable aftermarket powering a carbon-free future. And our mission is to deliver best-in-class products, services, and customer experience to the aftermarket, kind of solving the challenges of today and preparing for a carbon-free future. You know, we are known as an ICE company, but we have some initiatives in place that I'll talk about later. So this means, for us, it means having the right part in the right place at the right time with the right training and information to support our channel partners down to the technician. So one of our core guiding points is OE expertise, aftermarket agility. So we don't shy away from the fact that we're an OE company. Rather, we embrace it and take that to the aftermarket with the speed that's needed for our aftermarket channel partners. We are, however, one of the exciting things for me when I came on board is we are about 34% of PHINIA as a company is the global aftermarket. So we are a significant piece, and we intend to grow that. And it's been publicly stated that we want to grow that to around 40% over the next 5 years. We also, as a company, don't just limit ourselves to ICE vehicles. We in the aftermarket are also looking at other opportunities and synergies that make sense for the business, right? It's got to fit within our DNA and our vision. But we are looking at some propulsion agnostic categories. We've launched steering and suspension. Elsewhere in the world, we've launched braking and diagnostics, and we're looking here to see if we have a right to play in different markets around the world.
Terrific. So one of your goals is to develop sales to independent aftermarket and OES customers both, right?
Yes.
Discuss how PHINIA is strengthening customer relationships and enhancing the product offerings for those markets.
Sure. So as I mentioned, we've built the foundation and we've aligned our leadership team in North America on our critical objectives. One of those is continuing and strengthening our strategic customer partnerships, whether they be local, regional, or global. So as both Dave Illis, who's our Director of Sales, Marketing, and Training, who joined shortly after I did, and I are newer to PHINIA, we have spent a lot of time listening to both our internal team and our external customer partners. And we're delivering and developing action plans to improve where we need to and leveraging our existing strengths. And as well as I mentioned previously, we've been replacing and adding resources, and we continue to add resources. In fact, there'll be an announcement coming out shortly of our next addition to our sales team, and we're excited to have that person on board. The other thing I'd say is we are embarking this year on a third-party driven customer satisfaction survey. This will help us create a baseline of where we are in our journey and identify areas where we can collaborate even better with our customers. So we're listening to our customers and reacting to that. And you can see even over the short time that we've been working on this, with the focus that we've given to the customer, we're actually starting to see some seeds of success with new business wins. And also we've been given awards by both Parts Authority and Nexus. We're also looking at the product offering enhancements that we're bringing to the market. It takes time, effort, and resources. And here's, I want to talk about a few initiatives that we're working on to support the growth. So as I mentioned, even in sales, but also in product, we are adding a lot of resources to help accelerate that product range coverage that we're doing. The next thing we're doing is we're really expanding our reach. So we're very strong in the United States, but we see a lot of opportunities to grow both in Canada and Mexico and Central America. So in 2025, we're launching websites for both the French Canadian and the Mexican Spanish speaking audiences. We've added resources, including a catalog manager, which we can tie directly to a piece of business that we've won in Mexico. So continuing to invest both north and south of the border as well. We do have, I'll say, some diverse portfolios across our brands, and we're really leveraging our global teams here. So we play in fuel systems, steering and suspension, vehicle electronics, starters and alternators, as well as I mentioned previously, categories such as braking and diagnostics, which we haven't launched here in North America. And again, we need to convince ourselves that we have the right to play or the right to win in those categories. I mean, Delphi is a very well-known brand, so we are pulling on that string to see what happens. And we also play across all ranges of vehicles, so light, medium, heavy duty, both on-road and off-road. So we're touching, transportation is kind of where we're looking, right? So it doesn't even have to be vehicles. It can be marine, it can be two-wheelers, it can be three-wheelers, four-wheelers.
How about ag?
Pardon me?
Ag?
Ag, so the off-road is what we call ag.
Okay.
Yep. And again, the other thing we're really trying to pull together and leverage our global strength is we know that there's a lot of parts that we've launched in Europe or Asia Pacific that fit vehicles that are launching in Mexico, Central America, South America, and even the US and Canada. So rather than us trying to relaunch a part, we're trying to pull on those global strengths and quickly add those parts to our range. And then we are exploring, as I mentioned, other product and service areas to help our customers. In fact, I spent the last 3 weeks traveling globally, visiting our plants in Europe, in Asia, in North America, to see where they have spare capacity or where they have opportunities to think outside the box and add products to our range. And as I mentioned earlier, we also met as a global aftermarket team in Singapore a couple weeks ago and really fleshed out our plans for our exciting 2030 journey and how we can become better global partners for our customers. Specifically in North America, we launched last year at Apex a line of enhanced chassis to fit on work vehicles and high use and high pressure vehicles like that. And we're continuing to fill out our ranges in our existing product categories. The next thing I wanted to talk about is training. Developing new products and parts can only go so far. Technicians need to stay educated as technologies are constantly evolving and advancing. Even on products we don't currently offer in the aftermarket, we're actually providing training. So we're providing a service to the entire industry, whether it generates revenue for us or not. And I want to say, and I want to emphasize that we're leaning in on training, right? This is an area we're going to invest in over the coming years.
Russ, just back it up half a step. The three primary brands are?
Delphi,
Delco
Remy, and Hartridge. So
I'm not familiar with Hartridge.
Yes, so Hartridge is our diesel test equipment and repair brand. So
Got it.
we have Delphi diesel fuel injectors, and we purchased a company called Hartridge that does the test equipment and repair equipment.
Okay. So, Russ, how do you plan to leverage emerging technology or aftermarket trends to make PHINIA a more recognized and trusted name in the aftermarket primarily?
Yes. So, Bill, thanks for asking that, and I want to touch on 3 areas there. So the first one is AI. So we're leveraging AI for both our existing processes internally, so where we're doing things manually, how can we automate those so people can spend more time doing analysis and less time doing just the mundane tasks. But one of the key things I want to talk about with AI is an exciting initiative we're undertaking globally, and it's AI for training. So obviously AI is one of the hottest topics out there today, not just for automotive. So we're exploring software, and I've seen some examples of this, and it's unbelievable. We can film training in one language and then translate it to any language around the world. So you can imagine North America is hard enough, right? We have 3, 4 languages. You can imagine in Europe when you're trying to do it.
Right.
And this actually changes the mouth so it looks like they're naturally speaking the language. So I could be speaking in English and it translates it to whatever language you want, and it looks like you're actually speaking that language.
It's not like the old movies where it's moving
exactly
like this, but it doesn't match up.
Yeah, it's not, there's no delay or anything. I mean, it's pretty incredible. So that's going to allow us to launch training videos much more frequently. And again, leverage our global strengths, right? So if we if we do a video in Europe, we can bring it over here. If we do a video here, we can bring it over to other countries. We're also exploring live training translation functionality. So it would enable anybody around the world to sign up for training regardless of what language you speak, okay? And then, we're really excited that that's going to be able to, as I mentioned, we have a lot of global partnerships. And so it's going to allow our global partners to really leverage this technology for us. The second thing is, while we are known as an ICE vehicle company, we know that EVs, hybrids, and plug-in hybrids are growing in popularity. We have seen the growth slow a little bit, which is great for us as an OE and an aftermarket company. But we strive to have solutions for all types of what we call fuel. So that includes normal gasoline fuel we're used to here in North America, diesel, even some new technologies around hydrogen, which I'll talk about in a second. And then we like to look at also products, because we are ICE. We know that in the future there'll come a time where it starts to tail down. So we're looking at opportunities for propulsion agnostic products that we can offer, such as our growing steering and suspension line. And then the last one I want to talk about is some emerging technologies on the OE side of our business. So a couple of them are, so GDI is a advancing technology, gasoline direct injection. And we just announced our first 500 bar. So the pressure on that is like unbelievably high, and it's a very advanced technology. It has a lot of key advancements to optimize engine performance and minimize emissions. So again, looping back to our vision of kind of helping the transition to a carbon-free future, there's a lot of things we can do with the existing technology to make it cleaner and more efficient. Yeah? And that system's adaptability to various fuel types and different engine platforms is going to allow us to bring that to the mass markets. So we're also working with several partners, both OE and government, on hydrogen. So hydrogen injectors. And the cool thing about that is that you can retrofit those injectors into an existing ICE engine and convert it from a gas or diesel engine to a hydrogen-based engine. And of course, over time, those products are going to find their way to the aftermarket. And so there's that OE expertise, aftermarket agility tying back together. And then, so to us, it's always critical to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to these new technologies. So we'll also be developing training on these products, because even if maybe we're not selling it in the aftermarket, there may be technicians that are having a vehicle come in with these technologies. Maybe they have to go to the OE dealer to get the part, but they're still going to know how to do the fix. So we're going to leverage our understanding and knowledge and build the training around that.
Russ, you've mentioned training a few times in our time together here. So at Apex last year, PHINIA previewed the new Delphi Training Academy, comprehensive North American training program, instructor-led, self-paced training options. How has that worked? What's been the impact so far? Give us an update.
Absolutely. It's been great, and we're just getting started. Since November, we've been offering monthly training sessions, which we call Tech Tip Thursdays. So a little bit of a tongue twister there, T3, with very positive feedback. This year, it's receiving both an extension and an expansion because of how well received it's been. In the fall, we're also planning to do more in-depth virtual instructor-led classes that are going to be like 2 to 4 hours in length. Our current sessions are only an hour and focus on one topic, whereas this is going to be more like a traditional course, giving the technician an in-depth look at specific topics. Training is a hot issue in in the aftermarket today and in the automotive industry in general as the technologies continue to progress, right? So training to maintain and expand knowledge is a must for technicians. And again, I reiterate the fact that just because we don't bring the part to the aftermarket doesn't mean we're not going to develop training for it. We've been creating some training elsewhere that we're bringing to North America around electric vehicles. Again, PHINIA as a company is not really known for electric vehicles, but we see a need for our technicians to be able to work on those vehicles, yeah? So another thing we're doing, again, I mentioned we're leaning into training. So we're investing in our training program. We're going for ASC accreditation. We're planning to continuously grow and evolve our program in the coming years. This is a multi-year, I mentioned 2030 a couple times, so this is a plan we're building out through the next 5 years on how we're going to become a even better partner. We're already well known for our training programs. We receive a lot of accolades for them, but we're going to double down on that. We're also making our training more accessible. So we're going to offer multiple ways to train, right? If you want it in person, we're going to do in person. If you want it virtual, we're going to do it virtual, but it'll be live to and fro. Or if you want a self-paced, we're going to do that as well. So in addition to that, so light vehicle, medium duty vehicles, we already offer a few heavy duty courses today, but we're also going to add a lot more courses there, and those are coming soon. So we also are making sure that that training is tailored to each step in the distribution chain. So our customers, their counter people, all the way down to the delivery drivers and the technicians are going to be able to use and be aware of our offerings.
Terrific. So Russ, it is tradition on AMN DriveTime to do something we call a lightning round.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you're going to give me a quick answer off the top of your head.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm absolutely ready.
All right. Question number 1. What's the furthest place you've traveled as part of the automotive aftermarket?
Well, I mentioned earlier, I just spent 24 hours flying to Singapore for a week. So I've spent a lot of time in Asia, in Singapore, in Japan, in China, in Malaysia. And I've also been to, actually we have offices in South Africa with a previous company. So those are kind of the two farthest places, and both of those take pretty much a day to get to.
Yeah, it's funny, we talked before we started this that you had just come back from a several-week trip overseas.
Yes.
It's funny. What are some words to live by?
Surround yourself with people that are smarter than you and let them do their job.
You attended University of Michigan, Dearborn. What's one fun fact you can share with our audience about your college experience?
So I spent my undergrad at Michigan Tech, and so that was a small Division II school.
Okay.
And then I went to the University of Michigan while I was working at night, so I went at night.
Yep.
One fun fact is that I went to University of Michigan as a Michigan State Spartan fan.
Okay.
Wore my Michigan State Spartan jersey one day, and the professor said, if you don't want to fail this class, you'll never wear that jersey again.
That's funny. That's brave of you to wear that
Yes.
shirt on campus.
Yeah.
Good for you. What's an interesting fact about you that most people wouldn't guess just by looking at your professional profile?
I would say that my passion is cooking, and specifically the art of charcuterie. So I make my own sausages and bacons and cured meats, and I have all the tools at home. It drives my wife crazy with having to store all these tools.
That's sort of an artisan thing as well,
It is.
right? It's
It
not only the
is.
food, but how you put it on the
Yes.
on the platter.
Yes.
Last one. If you could switch roles with anybody in your organization for one day, who would you switch with?
With one day, for one day,
One day.
I would switch with our chief strategy officer, because we're going through some exciting times right now, and we've publicly stated we're looking to do some mergers or acquisitions. And so he's got probably the most interesting job in the company right now.
Russ, great to have you on AMN Drive Time, sponsored by our friends at Eischen.
Hey, it's been my pleasure, and thanks for having me.